Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to day 6 of the 7-day series of Haven and Hearth 101, where I try my best to teach you how to get from the very beginning of the game to having a walled secure settlement. I guess we're already at that point now, aren't we? But that doesn't mean that we can't make progress. As you can see on the left, I have been a very busy man in the last couple days. I got a whole lot of stuff done, and I recorded a whole lot of it for you. Everything is either already recorded, so I can show it to you, or I'm going to be showing it to you here live. First of all, as you can see right off the bat, I organized the settlement a little bit more. It's less clutter, the stockpiles are a little bit less random. I emptied out a lot of jars, I got rid of a lot of random crates, and if we go in the house, oh my god, look at all this. We have all these labeled cabinets. I have, my LP items to study in here. We have meats in here. We have some equipment in here. Great stuff. I got my study desk over here. So convenient. And there's something big in the middle of the room, but we'll get to that in a minute. The next thing I did was I learned Sideswipe by killing bats, and I leveled my melee to level 40. I actually leveled it to 30 for quite a while and fought more bats and stuff, and then got it to 40 the next day, or earlier today. Which is, of course, November 27th of 2015, at like 2 in the morning. It's like a week. I think it's a week and a day until the next world drops. Anyway, Sideswipe is a really useful attack for early in the game. It's definitely not like the most optimal thing. Really, I think it's Quick Barrage and Full Circle that a lot of people like to use for fighting animals, and that's optimal, but you're not going to get Quick Barrage from fighting bats, at least I don't think. You can get Sideswipe from fighting bats, and much like how Punch is an easily spammable move in combat in this game, Sideswipe works the same way. You can just hold down the one button, and it's going to do pretty well against a lot of early game animals. That's just your melee weapon equivalent of Punch, I do it with my ceramic knife. Although, later this episode, we're going to have a whole lot of fun when we fight those foxes. Anyway, I made a new thatched bed, as you can see here. Nothing too exciting there, you already know what a thatched bed is, but I finally made one here. The next thing, and this is something I actually get to teach you, so this is more exciting, is I made an extraction press. Now, these are really easy to make. All you need is the wine-making skill, which you're allowed to purchase right now. It's dirt cheap if you want to get it. And you might think, I don't have grapes. What am I going to do? Well, we can make apple juice with this for apple cider. You remember the previous episode where I started building this demijohn here? Well, as you can see, it has apple juice in it, which gives you a food bonus to eating offal, which is not, it's not super useful. That's kind of specific, right? But the cider will give you a bonus to that as well as a few other things. I think it gives you a bonus to chicken as well as a few other things, but I don't remember off the top of my head super well. So the way this works is we made an extraction press. This is under, here we go, extraction press. It's just made of wood. You can make this pretty easy. So what we do here is, how many slots does this thing have? It has 25, cool. We can take 25 of either red or green apples, just like regular ones. Sorry, did I say 25? Yeah, so I need another 5 here, and then these ones. Okay, cool. And we'll open this up. Ooh. Yeah, I gotta manually move them over, don't I? Yeah, okay, faster way to do this, by the way, and I think this is an Ender client thing. If you need to quickly unstack things because you need to move them somewhere, hold Control and Shift and then right-click. It'll move things out of the stack in bulk, and then you can just do the regular Shift left-click to move them over. This really does save you a lot of time with a task like this, although I guess a sane player would probably use a wheelbarrow to move the stack directly into the thing. Wheelbarrows let you move full stacks. I guess I haven't really used one of those, but I could probably show you that in a short. Or maybe I'll show it to you tomorrow in tomorrow's video, who knows? Anyway, once you loaded it up with your apples, or you could also load it with grapes, of course, if you have grapes, you hit press. And I know it looks like it's pouring on the ground. That's just an aesthetic thing. Don't worry, you're not actually wasting your apples. Anyway, this is going to take a second. But when you fast forward it, it looks kind of like this. And we're done. You see, kind of looks like grape juice, doesn't it? How it's all purple. Yeah, I think originally you couldn't make cider. I think back in the old days it was only wine. I don't remember cider being in the game back then. Anyway, you can just dump the apple cores if you want. You could Control left click them to just dump them on the ground, or I believe you can compost them once you have a compost bin, but You know, our farm isn't too impressive yet. We haven't really been doing a whole lot of that stuff. That's maybe for a little later in the game, and I can have more specific guide videos on that later as well. The next thing I did was I harvested our string grass. Actually, a lot of our crops we got to harvest once and replant by now, but nothing changed into anything new yet. Takes a while for wild crops to do that. You know, a few cycles, a few generations. We did harvest some string grass though, and that got us wild fibers. Now, most of it here I just stockpiled right here. You can use it for some basic crafting, or you could use it as string. It's not great quality, and we'll get better plant fibers later as we domesticate crops into flax and hemp and stuff like that. But I went ahead and I made us a loom. Fancy, right? Almost looks like we're sitting at a piano or something. You can see this requires basic mechanics, which I want to say costed about 2,000, maybe 2,500 LP. It wasn't too bad for this point in the game. You know, early on that would suck, but this part of the game, you can handle that. A loom is a very delicate building. You've got to put it in a house. And so this is one of the many reasons why you do need buildings later on in the game, you know? Although, again, I believe you could put this in a cave perfectly safely. Anyway, you can take a bunch of your, you know what, I can just show you to do it right now. In processing materials, sewing and fabric, primitive cloth for 6 of these wild fibers. We can go ahead and craft that. And you can see it's pretty quick to craft. This is usually like a sewing job. You can see it requires sewing skill. So the tailor of your village or your settlement, or you, if you're a nomad or a hermit, you're going to want some dexterity and some sewing skill to help make sure that you're not lowering the quality of these things. But of course, the quality also depends on the quality of your loom, as well as obviously the quality of the string that you're putting into it, or the fibers in this case. And I'm just stockpiling the cloth over there. There isn't a whole lot you can do with primitive cloth. You could do some furniture with it, which can be nice for beautifying things around the base. Remember, a better quality table and a better quality chair do help you with getting bonuses when you're eating at that table and chair. There are several curiosities that you should probably be perusing right now if you just unlocked that. And I like fishing in this game. Cloth allows you to start making a primitive casting rod, I think it's called. I'll be showing you how that works in detail tomorrow, because fishing with that is lure fishing. It doesn't work the same as bait fishing, like you saw me do earlier in the playthrough. Bait fishing is very slow and very hands-off, the kind of thing you have going on the side monitor, you know? Whereas lure fishing is a lot more hands-on, but it can also be very quick. It can get you a lot of great fish, and it lets you customize what fish you're going for a little bit more. Someone who's a really talented fisherman who has really investigated the systems and has spent a lot of time reading through the wiki page for fishing can really make great use of lure fishing, whereas anyone could make great use of bait fishing. But guys, I know what you're all here to see. You want to see me find metal. You want to know, how do I find some metal? How do I safely mine it? And how do I smelt it into something really cool? For a lot of early Haven players, metal feels mysterious, foreign, and arcane. Difficult to find, difficult to understand how to use, and really dangerous. And yeah, it actually kind of can be if you don't know what you're doing going in. And the first part, getting the ore, is the scariest part, because when you're mining, you're risking a cave-in. Now, we're going to get into that in this episode. So you remember all that rust root I was having you guys collect in the previous episode? This is where it comes in handy. You can use water and rust root to make rust root extract, which is really hard for me to say, by the way, because I'm nasally today. In before, when am I not? Anyway, you need to have an empty clay jar in your inventory when you make the extract. You know, just like it works with tansy extract. I think any extract works that way. Anyway, you can have up to 10 doses in an individual pot, although every time you craft a rust root, it gives you 4 doses. Every single dose is 1 use of this extract, and every use of it is for helping you prospect to figure out what metal is below you. This is really vital for finding metal early in the game, especially if you're in a cave system that nobody else has been in, or at least no one has mined in yet. Often you can stumble across people who have found ore and then abandoned mines. That's common unless the world just dropped. But if you're the one who has to find that ore completely by yourself, That's daunting, and I want to teach you how. I'm going to have a more specific guide on this one day. Maybe it's even up on the channel by the time you're watching this, I don't know. But today I'm going to teach you how I just found tin in a cave, like a couple minutes walk away from me. All right, now what you're seeing right now is the footage of me going around and prospecting. You can see I have a whole bunch of I've got a whole bunch of rust root extract, and what you do is you walk around and you right-click it and you prospect. And what that does is after a short little meter, it tells you what is directly below you, which is usually going to just be some kind of stone. You might want to have the wiki open with the names of the stone and the names of the ore. That might help you a little bit. Sometimes, though, when you prospect, there'll be a ping in a direction, a cone pointing you in a direction. And when you see that, you should probably walk, 5-10 tiles in that direction and prospect again. And you want to keep doing that and keep following that arrow until eventually it will be a circle outside around your body rather than just a cone. Now, sometimes when you get that circle, it'll still say what's below you is stone, and you might need to move a little bit more and prospect again. But eventually, you will have it say some name of some kind of ore, and you can look up on the wiki and you can see what kinds of ore turn into what. You can see here, I actually discover some ore. It's a really good ore too. It's one that turns into tin, and it's one that turns into tin at a pretty high rate. So even low-level characters like me who don't have all of the mining skills and all of the smithing skills and whatever, I can still get a decent amount of tin out of that. Tin is soft metal, but you can only find soft metals on the cave level. You have to go deeper with mine holes if you want to get hard metals. Something worth keeping in mind, when you're looking for metal, you probably want to be prospecting near the outside of caves. The reason for this is no matter what elevation the cave looks like it's on in the outside world, the way the game actually works is outside is floor 0, let's call it, then any cave in the world takes you into the cave system, which is floor 1 of underground. Then mine holes below that will take you to floor 3, 4, 5, so on and so on. That means that it doesn't matter if clearly you're on a cliff below a cave entrance and you're prospecting and it says that metal's below you. If you're 5 tiles away up a cliff from that cave entrance and you go in there and then you go 5 tiles through a wall back the way in the direction that it said the ore would be, yeah, the ore will be there. Even though I know it seems literally impossible, but that's the way it works. The surface level is always analogous and above the cave. Anyway, once you find the ore, you can mark it on your map, and I recommend that you do, and then you go into the cave, and you try to figure out how to get to that point that you are at by digging through the wall. Now, to mine, you're going to want your stone axe. Ideally, get the best quality stone axe you can. Use some better stone. Use some flint, maybe. Find tree branches that are of a little bit higher quality than just 10. Maybe you can find a 15 in the wild. That's not all that rare. You're also going to want to get your strength up a lot, because higher strength makes it much easier to mine. Really, your minimum should be maybe 35 strength at this point if you're going to be mining, but ideally the more strength the better. It's going to let you mine a lot faster and for a lot less energy. Anyway, luck was on my side. I don't seem to have been the only person who was prospecting there one day, because as you can see, someone's already mined through a bit of the wall, and when I walked over there, yep, there's a whole bunch of the ore. And they have decayed old mining supports in there that are still functional. Those are mine supports that are literally holding up the cave from a cave-in in that zone, so you can mine as much as you want in that zone. Now, you watching are maybe watching this right after a new world dropped, and you're not going to find many of those caves that already have supports put in. There are some natural pillars that can make natural support, and if you turn on your radiuses in your options menu, then you'll be able to see that radius and know that you can never get a cave in within that radius, and thus it's safe to use your mining skill, or your mining action rather, on those walls. But there's a game of Minesweeper to it. If you don't have support in the area and you want to dig, there's a chance of a cave-in. It's all through a Minesweeper-like minigame, and again, I'll have a specific video on this at some point, but I'm also going to be showing you a very dangerous method of mining tomorrow. Tomorrow's method of mining is what I once saw affectionately referred to as poke the bear, where you walk around a cave, and I don't know, every 10, 15 tiles, you just dig out one layer of rock from a nearby cave wall. And the chances of it being a cave-in is very, very little on just one little piece of rock. but it's not 0, so wear a helmet. I know poke the bear sounds very inefficient, but to be honest, the first time I ever got metal many worlds ago, it was by poking the bear for only like 30 minutes. It wasn't all that bad. For a lot of you, though, you're probably going to be watching this not on a new world, and a lot of other people will be prospecting and trying to go for these metal sources, and they don't usually mine out the entire thing. They mine what they need before they can set up their base, so that they have their own mine hole inside the base, and they can drop down a few levels through a few mine holes, and get to a safe underground place. Okay, well, underground's not all that safe, but down a few layers where they can find some metals and know that other players aren't going to be poking around like in the cave system. But now that I'm getting ore, what do I do with it? Well, the first time you get your first ore, which is soft ore, you got to make a stack furnace. Pretty easy to make, mostly just stone, clay. Use good quality stuff though if you have it, like good quality clay, because it does affect to some degree the quality of the metal that you get out of it. Check it out here. This is me actually smelting my first batch of clay. Now, at a stack furnace, you need to use these bellows to get your furnace hot enough. You can actually use wood. You don't need to use charcoal for this like you would an ore smelter, which is a more professional machine for heavier kinds of ore for better kinds of metal. But the stack furnace is going to do for now. It's good to point out that you should probably take the tunneling skill before you smelt the tin. The reason for this is it's the cheapest skill you can buy that increases the amount of tin you're going to be getting, or any metal really. The way smelting works is you don't get metal out of every single ore. No, every ore has a certain % chance of giving you metal, or just turning into useless slag, which is just a basic kind of stone. The tunneling skill, as well as some other much more expensive ones, increase the amount of metal you're actually going to get out of this ore. So you should probably pick up that skill before you go smelting a whole lot of this. Anyway, after I smelted a whole lot of tin, because man, I was carrying 4 water skins and going in and out of that mine collecting as much tin as I could for this tutorial series, I went ahead and did our first little fancy things with it. I made a mold for a tinkerer's shovel and a tinkerer's throwing axe. Now the throwing axe doesn't need to be thrown, you can use it as a melee weapon, and that's what I intend to do, and it's just an upgrade from the axe. It's better at chopping, it's better at mining, which is very useful, and it definitely does more melee damage. So I wanted one. It's only 2 tin, so soft metal, something I have a lot of now, which is tin, great. And for 3 metal, I could do the shovel as well. As you can see here, making a mold is really cool. You just build it right next to your furnace. The furnace has to initially be lit. The mold itself is just made out of a little bit of sand or clay, and then you right-click all of the bars that the recipe requires onto the mold itself to melt it and pour it in. Then you wait about 8 hours. While I was waiting, I also went ahead and melted nuggets at the crucible. This is turning a bar into 10 nuggets. Nuggets can be used to craft a lot of things. A lot of cool gildings, a lot of cool curiosities, as well as a ton of things for your eating table or your dining table. Salt and pepper shakers, plates, just all kinds of little things like that you can go ahead and make with nuggets. But you know, don't be too wasteful or anything. You do need nuggets for other things, like the hunter's belt. It's just a little bit of leather and 1 nugget, which is 1/10 of a bar of metal, and you now have a belt with 6 slots. That's as good as a snakeskin belt. So if you don't already have a snakeskin belt, go ahead and treat yourself to a hunter's belt. It'll let you carry a lot more water, and that'll be useful when you're deep in the mines for a very long time. Guys, believe it or not, but that's all the stuff I did between episodes, and there's only a little bit left to do today. I'm breezing through it today, aren't I? Would you look at these casts? You can tell they're done now because they don't look all molten, you know, more of a tin color in there. All we have to do is right-click that and go ahead and crack it. But I see that this thing's a little bit chilly, so I'd like to heat that back up. Hey, you want to see a party trick? Hit the drink command while you're doing this. And the bellows just bellow themselves. There we go, and I heated it right back up. Now it's cooking much faster, that's perfect. All right, something I want to show you real quick. When you look at all those little numbers, those growth numbers, 1 out of 3, 0 out of 3, yeah, that's in your UI. So if you go under the display thing here, You can see there's simple crops, first of all, which does require you to reload the area, but it'll make it, less cluttered looking. Very good if you're a farmer. But there's also this beautiful one down here, show object info. You want to hit the little gear icon. You can turn on plant growth, so you can see at a glance how grown your crops are. Now this also works for wild crops, so you could use it to easily spot wild crops if you find them a little bit hard to notice. It's also useful for having tree growth on, because it'll also show you overgrown trees, which are trees in the wild that are of a higher quality. You can have it show you things like shearable animals, so you know when an animal is ready to be sheared. There's all kinds of very useful things here that, up to you. Check off whatever you want to check off. Guys, we are getting so tantalizingly close to hunting something new, hunting those foxes like I said I would. But first, we have to look in the mystery urn. I mean, what is this? Oh my god. Fellas, can you figure out what it is that I'm gonna make based on this? Shush, don't look at the left side of the screen. That's cheating. Don't do that. This is everything I need to make a little suit of armor for us. Now, I've actually already pre-made the leather armor, the chest piece. It's inside the house. But the rest of this we can make right now. If we go under armor and helmets. So under armor and helmets, I'm going to go to the helmet section here. You could make the chitin helmet, it's probably pronounced, which is made out of a bunch of crab and lobster parts. But a better quality one that is probably easier to make is a turtle shell helmet. This is just a sand, a string, and a bog turtle shell. You can find bog turtles pretty often in swamps. Shocker, I know. And it's a really solid early game helmet. You can see it looks very dignified, but it's a solid helmet. This will help you from cave-ins, and it'll help you in combat. I really do recommend that you make something like that. Another good one we can make a leather pants here. This is some basic leg armor for us. You can see it lowers our agility a little bit, unfortunately, but we have a good amount of agility right now, and we could use the armor. I've been getting beat up by bats a little bit. I have a few severe maulings, which we don't have the stuff to fix right now. This salve here requires you, I think it's you boil or you grind up the horns and antlers of deer, which I'm not tough enough to fight those yet. So those are going to have to wait before I can go healing them. We can also go ahead and make another bat cape, which is under the capes, cloaks, and robes. It's called a bat wing, but it's a cloak. I don't have all the ingredients here. Oh, I forgot to bring the bat wings over here. Okay, well, I'll go get some bat wings in a minute. All right, well, we also want to go to weapons and wooden round shield here. Now, this requires some carpentry skill, but that's okay. We can at least get a decent 10 quality, and it looks like that's what we got here. This is not the greatest armor class, but you can hold it in a hand slot, and you can fit it on your belt, so you can swap it in and out when you need to, Can be very useful. It does mean we gotta, not wear the Wanderer's Bindle all the time, and I do really like it. But obviously, this is gonna keep us more protected in combat, and it also lets us use, if we go to defenses here, sorry, not defenses, maneuvers. You can learn shield up, which I'll save onto my bar there. Shield up makes your block weight based on not unarmed, but on your melee skill, with the added bonus of, you have your shield up. Shield up without a shield equipped is really, really weak. You'd rather use 2 arms, which is just the same thing as chin up, but with melee skill. Shield up, though, if you have your shield and you're on shield up stance in a fight, then you have much, much, much better block weight. Here we go, I got the stuff now. Here we go, we made ourselves a fresh bat cape because my previous one got destroyed by, you guessed it, a lot of bats. Okay, and I also ran in the house and I equipped my stuff. Looking pretty dapper, I gotta say. You can't see a whole lot of it over my giant coat, my giant hat, but there you go. Wow, the slippers make me look so awful with that, doesn't it? Yeah, that's brutal. Those slippers are brutal, but I mean, I can't get rid of them. They're good. I haven't even gilded them yet. Oh no, I did gild them. I did gild them at some point. Cool. I gilded them with heartwood leaves that I found, which is a regional resource. Quite fancy, but I mostly just did it for the perception. The perception is pretty sweet. But I feel like our gear isn't complete. We got some armor, a little bit, but we don't really have a killer weapon. What is that? Oh my god. Oh my god, it's time. It's time to crack the casts. Look at that. Tinkerer's Throwing Axe. Mining speed bonuses that I do not believe I get with this. No, I do not. Mining speed bonuses. The quality's a little lower, so I wouldn't want to be butchering with this, but the damage is higher, the base damage is higher, the armor penetration is, I think, higher than either of my weapons. The grievous damage is way higher than either of my weapons. If I put this right in that hand slot right now, I guess I'll keep the stone axe in my back pocket. It'll still be good for chopping wood at a slightly higher quality, because this axe is a lower quality one. I don't have the highest quality tin or anything. I wasn't going that deep underground. But this is a solid weapon for this point in the game. Oh, sorry. Bad camera's called bad camera for a reason. The zoom's kind of brutal. And I can also crack this. I made a frying pan. You remember earlier when I said I made a shovel? I forgot I actually made a frying pan. I was considering a shovel. The metal shovel, the Tinkerer's shovel, lets you dig really, 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 really fast. If you're expanding your village, absolutely make one. However, the frying pan, more important, because I'm a chef and I like to cook. You can make so many great things with this. I recommend you go to meat dishes, autumn steak, crackling cutlets, steak and tubers. Yeah, liver and onion. Okay, all 4 of these recipes you unlock by unlocking the frying pan, and man, these are great. These are great foods that you can be cooking just by using a frying pan in one hand and right-clicking on a fire. It cooks very fast. You can see it's just a fire in a pan. You can use entrails and onions for liver and onions. You can use onions. This includes raw onions, like wild onions rather, a tuber of any kind, and some kind of raw meat to make steak and tubers. Crackling cutlets, use 2 of any meat along with an animal fat. That's a good one. Great if you're just overflowing on meat because you've been hunting a lot. An autumn steak, you put a little bit of salad greens, a little bit of mushroom, a little bit of raw meat, and you make an autumn steak. These are really kick-ass foods that are not that far into the game before you can make them, you know? All you need to do is get your hands on a frying pan, which only requires, I think it was 2 or 3 bars of any soft metal. So really, not that bad. When you really think about it, let's say you stumble across a mine where someone's already discovered a little bit of ore, but they haven't taken all of it, which is a fairly common occurrence. If you keep your eyes peeled, that is. Make sure to hit A then S to hover over and inspect things to see, you know, oh, that off-colored rock, is that rock or is that ore? You should double check those things. A then S to use the inspect key. It's very quick and easy to do things like inspecting from a distance and seeing if that is rock or if that is ore. If you're ever totally unsure though, pick up the ore or the mystery rock in question and try to turn it into a stockpile. If the stockpile's red like this, it's ore. Well, there's one ore you can find even on the surface, I think, that doesn't turn into normal metal. I'm blanking on the name. I think it's cinnabar. If I was wrong and it's not cinnabar, then I'll have the real answer on screen. If there's no answer on screen, it's cinnabar. What if I say on screen that it's cinnabar, though? Because that's an answer on screen, which would mean that it isn't. I could play some shenanigans with this if I really wanted to. I don't think I should be confusing you in a tutorial series, though, should I? Oh yeah, I know I told you guys about this early in the series, but I never really showed it off. You can right-click to hang things on walls. That can be really nice. If you're living with a community and like everybody needs to use the frying pan sometimes, hanging it up on a wall so it's in an easy-to-find place can be useful. Or you could just keep it in an urn or something right next to a fire pit. You know, whatever makes sense for you guys. All right, last minute equipment check. We have all of our armor on and ready to go. None of the armor is broken, or else it would be completely covered in red and very clearly broken. We have our clovers on us, so that if we find a horse, we can very easily temporarily tame it. And like I wrote here, it's time to fight foxes. Now, really, this is overkill for fighting foxes. We do not need this much armor. And at 40 unarmed, with stats like these, you know, 43 agility, 47 strength, more with our bonuses, Constitution's a little low, but really, we should be able to kill a fox. We'd get pretty banged up if we didn't armor up properly, but we could punch a fox and take it out. The problem is, foxes run away when they're at low health. Many animals do run away when they're at low health. A fox is faster than us, especially in the forest. You could fight it on grasslands, where you can run just as fast as it if you use the sprint up here. Or you could get on a horse, which is way faster than a fox. That way when it starts running, you can keep hitting it in the back while it's running away, kind of like a bat in a cave. Our strategy is simple. Treat it just like you treat a bat, really. You use your punch or whatever your spamming move is. For me, that's sideswipe because that's a better move, but for you, that might be punch. And you use your basic dodge moves. Those starting dodge moves are some of the better dodge moves in the game. I know you might have unlocked more, but for the most part, the starting ones are really solid because they're very fast and they take off a decent chunk of openings. I do recommend that you have your unarmed or melee skill, whatever one you're using, you should probably have it to like 30 as a dead minimum. I would go more like 40. I think that's just safer, and you want to be on the safe side. And you should armor up at least a little bit. Leather armor and leather pants, that's probably enough that you'll be fine, but if you want to slap a helmet and a cape and some other stuff on top of that, hey, I'm not going to stop you. More armor is better. And of course, you do not need a metal axe to go hunt a fox. But now that I have one, ooh, let's have some fun. Now let's hope it doesn't take me forever to find one. Well, I haven't found a horse yet, nor have I found a fox. I just found a cow, though. You can pull its hair if you want to, although often it'll maul you if you do that. And trust me, early in the game, a cow can really beat you up. But something a little fun we could do here, if I just empty out one of my water flasks, I could give him a clover, and whenever he eventually comes to me and accepts the clover and is befriended, I can use any kind of water vessel on him and milk him. The milk gives us some bonuses to eating certain foods. I'm blanking on which ones off the top of my head, but we can check in a moment once we have the milk. Oh, and there's a silk moth flying by me. Pro tip, by the way, until you have a settlement that is like really settled in and you're willing to do the least fun thing in the entire game, don't bother picking up silk moths. They die if you put them in a cupboard for a while anyway. You can't really stockpile them, and you have to feed them mulberry leaves, and they turn into cocoons, and you gotta boil the cocoons to get silk filaments, and oh, it's a nightmare, man. I'll have a video at some point on silk making. It's the coolest thing ever, because like silk is the coolest thing ever, but man, it is intensely hands-on. It is a chore. Only do that if you play like Warcraft dailies. Okay, let's go ahead and milk that cow. There we go. Now, I do believe its milk works a little different than other milk because it's wild cow milk. I could be wrong. However, you can see here, if you have a fucking magnifying glass, that in the top left, we get a bonus to eating bread, foraged items, and berries after drinking milk, which, I mean, early in the game, pretty easy to get those things. That's pretty sweet. It also, just like any other liquid, it's going to restore stamina as you drink it, probably at a higher ratio than water, but I don't know that for sure. I don't have a ton of experience guzzling milk all day. Oh, hey, look, mulberries. You can spot mulberries pretty easily because they have these little bits on the ground near them. I think it's supposed to be like larva cocoons or something. Anyway, I got to get back to trying to find a horse and a fox. Dude, are you for real? I'm cornered in by a badger, a snake, and a boar. Oh my god, it's like they're trying to flank me. Dude, this is nuts. Get out of there. Hey, check it out, it's a roe deer. Yeah, you remember the, does he have antlers? Nah, not old enough for antlers. Or not the right kind of deer? I'm not sure, to be honest. But yeah, deers, you gotta use their antlers if you want to make the medicine for severe mauling. I mean, there's also opium, but I don't think that's your solution. I see a fox. Do you see it? I'm in the middle of the forest, though. I'm not gonna be able to catch it if it runs. Wait. Hold on, though. What if I lead it over here? Guys, I think we're gonna just try for this one. Maybe it gets away. Maybe. But I'm gonna target it with my attack key, which is T. And I'm gonna lead it over here to the grassier part, where I want to fight it. I'm going to shift 2 to shield up. Oh, I haven't equipped my shield. My bad. Forgot I had to do oh, there's a Wolverine over there. Okay, I'm just gonna start swinging. Here we go, this is going well. I'm getting openings on him. He's only done 1 damage right now, and at 2 damage now, and it's just green numbers, which means it's to my armor. So far my armor has soaked all the damage. Here we go. I'm gonna set myself in sprint because he's gonna run this way and go right into this grassland. Here we go. Full circle for more damage. Wow, how easy was that? That went so much better than I thought it was going to. Full circle. Oh, what a solid move. So these are both moves you can get from fighting bats, by the way, and I really do recommend that you get them. Sideswipe, that's our spamming one. You can see it creates a yellow opening, and it also attacks yellow. So as you spam it, it'll start doing more and more damage because it's making the same opening that it's attacking. The cooldown on it is very short. The damage is lower than the regular weapon, but again, the cooldown's really short. It can be used with any edged weapon, so an axe, a knife, a sword, whatever. And it's just a very quick move that you hit a bunch of times. Then once you have their opening really, really big, you can full circle. Now this attacks all enemies within a range around you, so it's kind of crowd control, but it's also just good for dealing damage. It doesn't create an opening on yellow, but if he already has a large opening on yellow, red, or both, then full circle, yeah, the cooldown's longer, but it's a big damage move that you can use to try and finish something off where you know its health is low enough that it's about to run. Anyway, I don't feel like we're done hunting yet, so I'm gonna go ahead and make a little bit of room in my inventory. We'll butcher this on the spot, and then we're gonna keep hunting. I'm gonna go ahead and take my knife out because that's my best butchering tool, and we're gonna skin it. I have this set to auto, by the way, because, of course, I'm a chef, so I have to butcher a lot. You see in here, I have things like skin, then clean, then butcher set up. So I can just right-click and it auto goes to what I know I want to do. So once you've skinned it, you want to clean it. That gets you the intestines and the entrails. Intestines, great for fishing line, for making sausage, a lot of little things. And of course, entrails, you already know about that. Next, we butcher it, which takes all the meat off. You saw me do this early in the game to a boar, I think. And then, of course, we can collect the skeleton for the bones. Now let's go ahead and re-equip that axe. And I don't think we can take the Wanderer's Bindle off right now to shield up. Oh, you know what? No, no, because we wouldn't be able to fit it in there. Can we put it on our belt? We can put it on our belt. Oh, then we could put the knife there and put the shield there and put the knife here. I didn't need to juggle it that way, but whatever. And look at that. We got our shield ready to go. I don't think we're done until we fight another thing. I'm going to be honest. I'd be fighting a badger right now because that's kind of the next thing you could safely fight. Don't get me wrong, they're tough. They're feisty little bastards. They'll hurt you. Oh, that's a snake. I'm not gonna walk into that. They're feisty little bastards. They'll hurt you. But the problem is, if we go into our defenses here, we don't have any good moves for reducing red. The only thing I have is Flex, which reduces 10 red, 10 blue. Now, the actual number isn't going to be exactly 10. The actual number changes depending on, what was it? I think it's mostly depending on your skill and their skill in, I guess, unarmed, because this is an unarmed attack weight move. Yeah, it's not great. You know, you compare it to something like Quick Dodge, right? Reduces 20, cooldown 25. Flex reduces 10, cooldown 30. The only nice thing is it creates an opening of Dizzy, which is blue on your opponent. And hey, if you're using a move that hits blue, then power to you. Maybe you're a big left hook master, I don't know, but that's not me. Oh, by the way, hey, Candleberry. Collect every single Candleberry that you see in early game. You find them in swamps, only if your perception and your exploration is high enough, of course. And they're awesome, because every 5 of them you get, you can make into a piece of wax. And if you're like me and you don't have any, oh, hey, Bog Turtle, get that. And if you're like me and you don't have literally any straw yet, it has been very annoying. I really wanted to teach you straw, but I guess that's going to have to wait for other videos, maybe a farming video. If you don't have any straw, you can't make a bee skip. If you can't make a bee skip, you can't get wax. So I have to slum around in these swamps. Do I have auto drop parasites on? I do, good. I had to slum around in these swamps trying to get candleberries because every 5 of them you get, you can melt down into wax, and wax is still very useful. I see another fox. Okay, this is another area where I'm not in a grassland, I'm in a pretty deep forest, but that doesn't mean I can't box him in a little bit. Oh, hey, someone's got bee skips over here. Was I at this property earlier? No, I was at a different property earlier. I was hanging out, checking out, seeing if, any signs of life, which didn't look like it. Okay, so there's still things we can do to make sure that this fox doesn't get away from us. Namely, we can position ourselves so that we're between it and a wall. Ooh, there's a boar up there. Okay, I want to aggro this fox right away. Come on, approach blocked. I gotta lead this thing. Come on, aggro it, but don't aggro the boar. Aggro it, but don't aggro the boar. I wonder if someone must have been trying to build a wall here at some point and it didn't work out. I want to angle it. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the toggle for turning off trees. Oh my god, look how much better that is. Okay. Oh my god, that's a lifesaver. I forgot how useful that is when you're fighting in a forest. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Look at this. Wait, hold on. Can I walk in here? It's a dilapidated wall. I'll swing, will I? Yeah, oh my god, I can sprint here. I'm gonna use this guy's base for it. What I was gonna do was make it so that when he ran away, he ran straight into a wall, so he'd run back at me. And then I could take him out that way. But no, man, this is perfect. I can just get him on the flatland here where I can sprint after him. There we go. I'll switch to full circle, boom, and we got an uppercut, which is a popular early game move for people using a lot of unarmed. Uppercut here, it opens yellow, but it attacks green and blue. So what you do is you open with a whole bunch of spammy punches to get their green opening up, and then you uppercut to start dealing the actual damage. And it also creates yellow openings. You could combo that with a yellow move if you really wanted to get fancy with it. It's not the most efficient thing in the world, but if you're still like heavy and unarmed and you're in the early game, yeah, you could get uppercut pretty early, and it's a solid move, especially if you don't have a great weapon yet. But of course, we just pulverized this guy. Let's warp home with him. We'll lift him and then we'll hearth back home. I need to check the footage back on that fight because I don't remember if I used shield up or not before that. Now you activate those by pressing whatever correlated button you hotkeyed it to. So for me, I put it in slot the 7th one, which means that's shift then 2. Because there's 2 rows, right? These are 1 through 5, and then the other ones are shift 1 through 5. So you can activate it that way. But of course, you need to have a shield in your hands, which I didn't have the first time, which is why I couldn't activate it that time. You know what I mean. Hey, either way, we did perfectly fine in that fight. I took almost no damage. My armor is all in absolutely amazing shape because I went overkill on armor. If you just go in 1 piece of armor, then all the damage is going to get soaked up by 1 piece of armor, and that piece of armor is going to break really fast. If your only armor is wearing a bat cape, then you're going to notice how fast that breaks. But if you wear a whole bunch of pieces of armor, then the damage is spread out quite thin, and it'll take a long time before anything breaks. It's really sweet. But wow, we just hunted our first foxes. It went incredibly easy. We absolutely could have done that sooner. Sorry, did I max out that stack? Apparently I did. Get over there. There we go. Oh my god, I maxed out another stack. Sorry, I've been collecting a lot of nuts lately because I've been making a lot of nut jerky. It's been a good food for getting my strength up for the mining. Guys, that's everything I had planned for today. It's very close to the release of the next world, and thus the release of these videos. I'm releasing these videos starting a week before the world drops, and the moment that first video drops, this place ain't safe. That means that I think I'm recording day 7 tomorrow, and day 7, I can't really tease you on what's going to be in it too much either then. I'm definitely going to try fighting a badger, and I'm definitely going to poke that bear. Not a literal bear. I'll get absolutely annihilated. I'll probably get finished off after I go down too. They often do that. I mean poke the bear as in mining. Mining without supports in the most unsafe way you can. So that I can just teach you the basics of the minesweeper mechanic, okay? Other than that, me and my village are putting together a list, and we're just trying to pile every little useful thing I can teach you in that last day. Cram it all in. It's like I said at the beginning of the series, it's not all completely planned out, and it's in a bit of a rush, and I don't know how it's gonna go. I could have died at any point during this tutorial and taught you a lesson based on that, or gotten robbed, attacked by another player, mauled by a bear. I could have drowned. Anything could have happened, and I could just, roll with the punches and teach you what I can out of it. And that's mostly what I've been doing this whole time. Some planning here and there, as much as I can, really. But a lot of it is just, I see something, I teach you what I know based on that. It's been a really fun time coming back to this, and I'm very excited for the next world. Something exciting, though, and scary at the same time. The other day, for the very first time, in me creating this character, since the moment I created this tutorial character, I started this whole series, whether it be on camera or off, recorded or not, I never saw a single player. Now, this is the very end of an old world. Everyone's just planning for the next world. It always says there's about 200 people online, but those people are probably far off continents in well-developed communities that are very active and insular, Not on the spawn continent in the middle of nowhere. But yesterday, I saw one player. I was sitting right here at my table, and he was right out there. Oh, that's really ugly. He was right out there. He was right over there. He walked up on his horse. I was sitting here at this table. I was actually working on some script stuff, and I heard the alert for a player nearby, and I saw it on my other monitor. And I stood up, and I looked over, and I waved at him. I used the wave emote. I should have probably memorized him. I don't know if he was close enough. He was on a horse, and he was carrying a cart. His equipment looked about the same level as my equipment. Nettle and stuff, a little bit of leather. He had the supporter hat on, the basic supporter hat that looks a little bit like a link cap. So he is someone who is paid to support the game at some point. I know that much. Didn't say a word. I waved at him, and he just kept on walking. He stopped for a moment. I do think he noticed me, of course. But he just kept on going his merry way. Could have been a Russian player, just based on the time zones, because it was very, very late for me, but it would have been a reasonable time in Russia, and there's a lot of Russian players. So it's entirely possible that if I said anything in time, that he may not have understood it, and I may not have understood him. Could have been a player from anywhere in the world, really, just wandering on through. Maybe it was someone at the dying days of this world deciding, hey, I abandoned my settlement forever ago. I'm going to log back on and just explore around a little, see what the place looks like before I go onto the new world. Maybe that's one of the people from one of those dilapidated ruins I've already walked through on screen or off screen in this series. Maybe they're even going to see the video. Wouldn't that be cool? If they decide, hey, I'm going to look up some Haven and Hearth videos. I'm on a real Haven and Hearth kick since the new world is dropping, and boom, they see their settlement on here. How cool would that be? Or there's always the distinct possibility that the player noticed, hey, this is a very active new base. Let's mess with them. And he marked it off on his map, and they're planning on doing something to me. That's entirely possible. You never know. Day 7 could be tragic. But let's hope it's not. I think it'll probably go A-okay. Lord, I hope so. To celebrate the end of the episode, I was thinking maybe open this back up, and let's get our butcher's knife here. I was thinking maybe we skin and clean this thing. Clean it. And then we lift it onto the spit. And we go ahead and spit roast our fox. Let's see what it gets us. I want to say that regular fox meat when roasted is intellect. Which means that if you spit roast it, it's probably intellect and something else, but I'm not sure what. I haven't spit roasted a fox in almost a year. I don't really remember what you get out of it. And so I'm very excited to find out. Come on, what are we getting here? we get intellect charisma. I think charisma is probably the least interesting stat in the game. But I'm not going to complain about a food that I haven't gotten to eat yet, because that is pretty cool. Oh, and we also got some bone ash. I don't really need that, but I got some bone ash from cooking it with the bone in. And we can just eat up a little bit. There we go, got a little bit of dexterity. All right, guys. I'm going to be recording the next episode tomorrow, and I'm going to try my absolute best to cram as much info as I can into that. And I have so much editing to do. It's almost 4 in the morning. I've been working all night, and I got to get editing this and making thumbnails and making descriptions, because I am in such a rush to get this out in time to be helpful to you guys who are coming in on the new world. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.